The station lights flickered above the cold metal floor. Deep in the cargo bay, a cage sat alone in the shadows. Inside it, an alien girl sat quietly. Her skin was silver, smooth and glowing faintly in the dim light. Her long white hair was tangled. Her body was thin. Her arms were wrapped around her knees. She didn't move, didn't speak. Most people on the station called her a monster. Some said she had killed soldiers. Others claimed she could control minds. Some even whispered that her kind fed on pain. No one really knew the truth, but fear was enough. The station commander ordered her locked away the moment she arrived, no questions asked. "Don't go near her," the guards warned. "She's dangerous." And for months, no one did. Not until the human mechanic came. His name was Jace Wren. He was a tall man in his 30s, with grease on his clothes and calluses on his hands. He didn't care much for rumors. He fixed broken machines, not politics. One day, while checking a leaking pipe in the lower decks, he passed the cargo bay and paused. Something had moved in the dark. He walked closer and saw the cage. Inside, the alien girl sat still as a statue, her eyes closed. At first, he thought she was a doll. But then her eyes opened bright, glowing like twin stars. For a moment, they stared at each other. No fear, no anger, silence. He took a step back. She didn't speak. He turned and walked away. But the next day, he came back. He didn't know why. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the way she looked at him, not like a monster, but like someone ... forgotten. That day he brought a bottle of clean water and left it near the bars. She didn't move. Next day, he came again. This time with a protein bar. He slid it between the bars. She looked at it, then looked at him. Slowly, with trembling hands, she took it. Their fingers brushed for a second. Her skin was cold. He nodded once, then walked away again. Over the next week, he came every day. He brought food, clean clothes, even a small blanket. He didn't talk much, just left the items and sat near the cage for a few minutes. He noticed her face was soft, not sharp like the monsters in the station posters. Her eyes were always watching, quiet, alert but not angry. He asked the guards about her. "She's a killer," they said. "She doesn't belong here. She should have been spaced weeks ago." "But what did she do?" Jace asked. No one had a clear answer, just fear. He searched the station database. Her name wasn't even listed. To the system, she didn't exist. Jace began to feel uneasy. He didn't believe in monsters. He believed in machines, in proof. And this girl, this alien girl in a cage, had done nothing to him. In fact, she hadn't even spoken a word. One night, Jace sat near her cage longer than usual. He leaned against a crate and sighed. "They call you a monster," he said softly. "But you don't look like one." The girl moved. Her voice was barely a whisper. "What? It's a monster?" Jace looked up, surprised. It was the first time he'd heard her speak. He stood and walked closer to the cage. "A monster is someone who hurts people, who kills for fun, who doesn't care." She stared at him. "Then I am not one." Her voice was slow, heavy, like someone learning a language. He nodded. "I didn't think you were." She pressed her forehead against the cold bars. "They fear me, but they do not ask why." Jace swallowed. Her voice was gentle. "Sad, not evil, not dangerous. Just alone." "What's your name?" he asked. She was silent for a moment, then, "Carl." It sounded like wind moving through glass. Jace smiled a little. "I'm Jace." She repeated the word softly. Jace. It was the start of something strange, something that shouldn't happen here on a broken station at the edge of space. But it did. Human and an alien talking through steel bars. They both heard the footsteps too late. A voice shouted, "Hey!" A spotlight clicked on two guards, stormed in, and grabbed Jace by the shoulders, dragging him away. "What the hell are you doing near that thing?" One barked. Jace tried to explain. "She's not a punch to the gut," stopped his words. Carl stood, hands on the bars. her glowing eyes wide. The guards threw him against the wall and warned, "Next time, we'll toss you in the cage too." They left him bleeding in the hallway. As he crawled to his knees, he heard a soft voice from the dark behind the bars. "Please, don't go." Jace didn't show up the next day. Carl sat in silence, her back against the cold metal bars. Her hands were wrapped in the blanket he had brought days ago. It still held the faint smell of engine oil and human warmth. For weeks no one had looked at her with kindness. No one had said her name. Till him. She had watched him being dragged away, beaten like a criminal, just for giving her food. And now he was gone. 2 days passed, then 3. The guards smirked when they walked by. "Your little human's not coming back," one said, laughing. "Guess he learned his lesson." Carl closed her eyes. Her people had warned her before she came to human space. "They fear what they don't understand," her mother had told her. "They chain what they cannot control." She had not believed it. Until now. Then on the 4th day, something moved in the dark again. A figure stepped out from the shadows limping. It was Jace. His face was bruised, his lower lip was swollen. A strip of metal held his arm in place like a cheap brace. Leaned against a crate, breathing hard. But he was there. Carl stood slowly, eyes wide. "I'm sorry," Jace whispered, wincing with each step. "Took me longer than I thought." He slid a small box through the bars. Inside was a warm meal. Real food. Not rations. Her fingers touched his again as she took it. "You came back," she said. "Yeah," he smiled slightly. "Didn't feel right, leaving you." A silence settled between them. It wasn't awkward. It was strange, peaceful. The humming of the station, the distant echoes of boots, and this tiny pocket of trust growing between two souls who weren't supposed to be friends. He looked at her. Really looked this time. Her silver skin shimmered softly. Her eyes didn't look like fire now. They looked sad and tired. "But alive, Carol?" he asked quietly. "What did they say you did?" She hesitated, then said, "They said I used my power to control a man's mind. That I killed him. Did you?" She shook her head slowly. "He was hurting someone. I stopped him. I used my light to calm his rage. But his heart was weak. He died." Jace blinked. She wasn't lying. He could feel it. He sat down beside the cage. "Didn't ask for your side. They never do." Another silence. Then Jace leaned back and looked at the ceiling. "I fixed a busted gravity coil in the medbay once. I got electrocuted. I nearly lost my hand." She looked at him. "What happened?" "The doctors gave up," he said. "What?" "An old engineer patched it up, taught me how to fix myself." Carl lowered her eyes. "You fix things, even broken people." Jace looked at her again. "Only when someone deserves to be fixed." The moment hung between them like smoke. Suddenly metal scraped behind them. A guard appeared. Slow steps echoing through the bay. Carl stepped back into the shadows of the cage. Jace stood up quickly. The guard glared. "Didn't we warn?" Jace shrugged. "I'm just checking the pipes." The guard raised an eyebrow. "Stay away from that cage. Final warning." "I hear you." The guard walked off slowly, eyeing Carol one last time before disappearing. Jace exhaled, shaking his head. "They're scared of you. They should not be," she said. "My people are healers. We were born to protect." He crouched beside the cage again. "Then why the fear?" "Because my light. That shows what's inside." "What do you mean?" Carl reached a glowing hand through the bars. Jace stared at it, unsure. Slowly, he reached out. When their hands touched, soft warmth ran up his arm. Suddenly a vision. Not a dream, not a memory, a feeling, his own pain from the beating. The weight of years working in silence, the sorrow he buried deep after, his brother's death on a mission. It all rushed to the surface and then melted, like ice in the sun. He gasped and pulled back. She looked at him gently. "I didn't read your mind. I only gave you your truth." He stared at his hand. Trembling, "I can show pain," she whispered. "Or I can take it away." "No wonder they fear you," he said, voice low. "You see what they hide?" She nodded once, "But you did not hide." Jace stood. He looked around the bay, then back at her. "I'll come again tomorrow," he said. "Why?" she asked softly. He smiled. "Because they were wrong about you." Then, before he turned to leave, Carl asked, "Will you still come? If they threaten to kill you?" Jace paused. His answer was quiet but firm. "Yes." The lights in the engineering bay blinked red. Jace stood alone at the console, pretending to fix a broken coolant line, but his eyes weren't watching the screen. They were locked on the old terminal beside it, where he'd hacked into the station's internal files. The files were old, corrupted, half-erased. Still, he found her name. Subject ID: Carol variant species. Unknown status. Classified threat level. Red notes. Detain immediately. Avoid skin contact. Show no emotion. He frowned. Show no emotion. Then came a single security log, the only recording left. The image was grainy, a dark hallway, a woman screaming, a man holding her down, then light blinding, soft, almost like fire burst from another figure's hands. The attacker collapsed. The woman fled. Carol stood. Still, that was it. No blood. No violence. Just light. And silence. Jace leaned back, heart pounding. She stopped an attack, he whispered. And they locked her up. Shh. Behind him, the door creaked. He turned fast, wrench in hand, but it was only an old maintenance droid rolling by. Still, his nerves were tight. He knew he shouldn't be looking into these records. If Command found out, he'd be thrown in a cell, maybe worse. But he needed the truth, not just for her, for himself. That night, Jace walked back to the cargo hold with a toolbox in one hand, a canister of water in the other. Carl was waiting. She always heard his steps before he even turned the corner. "You found something?" she said quietly. He blinked. "How'd you know? Your heart is louder." He raised an eyebrow. "Can hear my heartbeat." She smiled slightly. "I can hear pain. In all its forms." Jace leaned against the cage. "They lied about you. You didn't kill anyone. You stopped someone from being hurt." Carl looked away. "Truth does not matter to those who fear it." He sat beside her cage. "You said your people are healers, but your light feels different." She didn't answer right away. Then, in a voice almost too soft to hear, she said, "We are born with fire inside us. Some of us learn to control it. Some burn too bright. What are you?" Carl slowly reached up and pulled her sleeve down. Under her skin, light pulsed, not just white, but mixed with gold, red, and something like living starlight. "I'm what your people once called a salt-touched." Jace frowned. "Heard of that? You wouldn't? Your kind erased the records?" Sat upright. "What do you mean?" Carol's voice was steady now. "Hundreds of cycles ago, humans met my kind. We're still young in space. We offered peace, help, healing. But some of your leaders saw our gift as threat, and they wiped us out. Or tried to. Those of us who survived, we hid. I was born in hiding." Jace shook his head. "That's not in any of our history books." She nodded, "'Cause you buried it." A long silence passed between them. Then Jace whispered, "I believe you." Carl looked at him. "Why?" He hesitated then. "Because your eyes, they've never lied." She stepped forward, closer to the bars. "You keep coming? If the truth gets darker?" "Yes, even if it hurts." "Yes." She reached a hand out again. He took it. This time the vision was different. He saw not her pain, but her memories. He saw a garden under twin suns. Alien children laughing, her mother teaching her how to hold light in her hands. Raid, fire, screams, her people running. A man in a black uniform capturing her. A dark room, needles, cold, then a metal cage. Alone until him. He gasped and fell back. Carol knelt at the bars. "I showed you who I really am." Jace wiped his eyes. "You're beautiful and broken." She tilted her head. "So are you." Before he could answer, a loud bang echoed through the station. An alarm blared. Red lights flashed. Carl stood, eyes wide. "What's happening?" she asked. JC pulled out his cum. It buzzed with static. A deep voice cut through. "Code red. Section 7 compromised. Unknown energy signature detected. Section 7. Jace whispered. "That's this deck." Carl looked past him, toward the shadows. Something moved. Then a new voice came, cold and sharp. "You've been poking in files you shouldn't touch, mechanic." Jace turned and froze. A tall man in black armor stepped into the light. His eyes were not human. His skin shimmered faintly like Carl S., but darker. Carl S.'s breath caught. She whispered, "He's not one of yours. He's one of mine." Jace didn't move. The tall figure stood in the red glow of the emergency lights. His armor looked like liquid stone. His eyes were like burning stars. Carl pressed herself against the back of the cage, her breath shallow, glowing skin flickering with fear. "You," she whispered. "You're from the Order." The man gave a slow nod. "You remember Jace stepped in front of the cage? Who are you? What do you want?" "I'm here to fix a mistake," the man said coldly. "She was supposed to be erased, not studied, not rescued." Jace clenched his fists. "She didn't do anything wrong. She exists." "That's enough." Carl stepped forward, voice shaking. "You destroyed my village. You silenced the children. You called us contaminants. Your light spreads like wildfire," he said. "We burn it to protect the stars." Without warning, the armored man raised a device, a black shard that hummed with dark energy. The cage began to glow. Carl screamed, dropping to her knees. "Stop!" Jace shouted, running at the man. The man turned too fast. His arm struck Jace like a hammer. The human flew back, hitting a wall hard. Pain exploded in his side. Something cracked, but he got back up, bleeding, limiting, burning with anger. Suddenly, a pulse of energy, the cage bars burst open. The armored figure flew backward, crashing through crates. Carl stood in the open cage, eyes blazing gold. Her hair floated as if caught in wind. Light burned from her palms. Her voice echoed unnaturally. "No more cages." Jace stared at her. She didn't look weak anymore. She looked like a sun. But her body trembled. Her hand shook. Using her power was hurting her. He limped over to her. "Can you move?" She nodded slowly. "Not for long." He grabbed her hand. "Then let's go." Sirens echoed through the station. Guards would come soon, and the armored figure, he was still moving under the wreckage. Jace led her through the lower corridors, moving fast, ignoring the pain in his ribs. She followed, weak but determined. Lights flickered overhead. Smoke filled the hallways. They reached the ventilation shaft. He pulled the grate off and helped her climb inside. "I've used this before," whispered. "It leads to the old ship docks." Carl looked behind. "You'll follow us, I know," Jace said. "We need a ship." They crawled through tight tunnels, metal cold under their hands and knees. Carl's light flickered lower. With each meter, her skin dimmed. Jace noticed, "You're fading." She shook her head. "It's not just power, it's memory. When I use too much, I forget." He stopped. "What do you mean?" She looked at him, eyes soft. "Every time I save, I lose a piece of who I am." Jace swallowed hard. "Then no more saving. I'll get us out." They dropped into the storage room near the dock. Jace found a hidden locker and pulled out a backpack. Inside was an old Starship access card and 2 masks. "I've been planning to leave for years," he said. "Never had a reason. Till now." Carl touched his hand. "You're risking everything." "I'm human," he said, placing the mask on her face. "That's what we do." He led her through a maintenance corridor. They reached the docking platform and froze. A ship was already there. Not a cargo hauler, not a rescue vessel. A war-class scout ship, small, fast, deadly. The ramp was open, and standing at the top was the armored figure. His voice echoed over the metal. "Run all you like. You'll never escape what you are." Carl stepped forward. Her voice was clear. "You're right, I can't." Then she looked at Jace. "But we can." Before he could answer, she raised her hand. "Not to fight, but to reveal the ship behind the armored man. It flickered. It wasn't real. It was an illusion, a trap. A glowing trail of Carol's power stretched down the corridor. She left a mark. Jace whispered. She knew. Carol fell to her knees, exhausted. You must fly. I'll only slow you. Jace knelt beside her. No, you're coming. Footsteps thundered behind them. Guards. The real ones, guns raised, voices shouting, get on the ground. But Carl was done hiding. She stood again, barely, and lifted one hand, not to attack, but to blind. A flash of pure light burst from her, not violent, but brilliant. Every soldier dropped their weapons, stunned. Jackie scooped her into. His arms ran, they reached the real hangar. His old maintenance ship sat waiting, ugly, scratched but alive. He sealed the doors. Engines roared. Stars filled the screen as the station shrank behind them. Jace looked down at the girl glowing faintly in his arms. She smiled weakly. Where are we going? Jace looked out the window, into the void. Someplace where you're not a monster. The old maintenance ship shook as it left the station. Metal groaned. Panels blinked. Red. Alarms buzzed behind Jace's head. But it was flying. That was enough. Carl lay in the co-pilot seat, eyes half closed. Her silver skin was pale. The glow. Almost gone. She looked fragile now, like light trapped in cracked glass. Jace glanced at her. Hold on, he whispered. We're not safe yet. Behind them, the station grew smaller. But not quiet. A signal pulsed from it. Fast, sharp, urgent. A warning beacon. They were being hunted. Jace punched the console. Damn it, they activated a drone squadron. Carl stirred. I can sense them. How many? She closed. Her eyes, hand pressed to the window. 3, no, for ships. Small, fast, armed. Jace's eyes narrowed. Interceptors. He reached under the dashboard, pulled out a hidden panel, and yanked a long wire. The lights in the cockpit flickered. The engine gave a short cough, then steadied. The ship jolted forward, speed doubling. I rewired the burn core months ago, he muttered. Didn't think I'd need it to run for my life. Carl managed a soft smile. You're good at fixing broken things, yeah? Then stay with me until I fix you too. Outside, the stars blurred as they entered a narrow asteroid belt. Jace turned off the main lights and dimmed the heat signature. Old mining zone, he said. If we hide here, maybe they'll pass. Carl looked worried. They won't pass. They smell light. My light. You're fading. I still burn. Suddenly a sharp beep. The radar lit up. Red dots, closing fast. Jace's hands gripped the controls. They found us. He veered between rocks. The old ship shook. Violently, as sharp fragments scraped the hull. The first enemy drone zipped past. Then a second. Lasers. Flew blue and fast. A shot clipped their wing, sparks. Burst inside the cabin. Carl cried out as the ship rolled sideways. Jace righted it. Barely. He hit the side panel. Come on, just one working cannon. One light blinked green. Thank you, he muttered. Then turned the ship hard and hit the fire button. The old cannon fired once. The drone behind them exploded in a flash of light and metal. Jace shouted. Yes, then silence. Carl sat up slowly, holding her side. 1 down. 3 to go. But the ship was tired. Too tired. Jay checked the energy reserves. Shields at 12%. If they all hit at once, he didn't finish. Carol placed a hand on the wall. A soft glow spread through the ship's frame. Jace watched, amazed, as the warning lights dimmed. What are you doing? She smiled weakly. It's giving your ship a heartbeat. Suddenly, the engines pulsed smoother. The lights steadied. The broken scanner reactivated. You healed the ship? Not healed, encouraged. Jace grinned. Okay then, let's fly. He broke out of the asteroid belt like a bullet. The remaining drones followed fast. Too fast. Carl looked out the window. Can't outrun them, I can try. No, she said firmly. You must eject me. He turned to her, shocked. What? They're following my light. If I leave, they follow me, not you. Not happening. You'll die. Then I'll die with you. The cabin shook again, too. More hits. Carl looked at him with something deeper than fear. Something like peace. I won't let you die for me, Jace. She stood barely and moved toward the back airlock. He grabbed her wrist. You do? I'll follow you out there. Her eyes softened. You barely know me. I know enough. I know they called you a monster. And I know they were wrong. Outside, the drones circled. Carl looked down. And then up. Something changed in her eyes. Not weakness, not sacrifice. A plan. Then don't follow me, she said. What? She kissed his forehead. Follow the path. She reached for the ship's control node and pressed her hand against it. A new map blinked onto the screen coordinates dot. A place Jace had never seen before. A quiet moon, hidden in an empty system. What's there? He asked. Carl whispered truth, others like me. He blinked. There are more. Her glow flared just once, bright and pure. Then she opened the side hatch, light exploded. The drones rushed toward her instantly. Jace screamed, Carl! But she was gone, pulled into space, surrounded by light. Drifting like a living flare, the drones followed her, vanishing into the dark. Silence returned. Jace sat shaking in the pilot's chair alone. He stared at the new coordinates, her voice echoed in his mind, follow the path. He grabbed the controls, eyes burning with grief, and turned the ship toward the hidden moon. The ship floated silently through deep space. Jace sat in the cockpit, staring at the stars. The seat beside him was empty. No soft glow, no silver hands. No voice whispering his name. She was gone. He had seen her pulled into space, a burning light swallowed by darkness. The drones followed her. She saved his life. But he had no idea if she still lived. He touched the cracked console. Her handprint still shimmered faintly where she had touched the system. That final act, final gift. And now, all he had was the map. The coordinates she gave him, a hidden moon, far outside normal trade routes. He punched in the destination. Engines hummed, weak but willing. I don't know what I'll find, he whispered. But I'm coming. The ship drifted toward the edge of known space. Days passed. He slept in short bursts. He dreamed of her voice, of the cage, of the fear in her eyes, and the courage when she opened the hatch. He replayed her last words, again and again. Follow the path. And finally, the moon came into view. It was gray, empty, wrapped in a slow ring of dust. No lights, no cities, just silence. Jace scanned the surface. Nothing then. Signal blinked, faint, old, buried. He followed it to the dark side of the moon. There, hidden under layers of rock, was a door. He landed the ship beside it, stepped out into the dust, his breath fogging in his helmet. The door opened when he approached. No code, no lock. It just knew. Inside was a long tunnel, smooth walls lined with glowing symbols. He couldn't read them, but they felt familiar, like something she would have. Written, he walked deeper. His footsteps echoed. Then the tunnel opened into a round chamber, and in the center, surrounded by a ring of lights, was a hologram. Her single quotes are not real, not alive, but beautiful. Turn to face him, Jace, her voice said. If you're seeing this, it means I didn't make it back. His chest tightened. But it also means you followed the path. You chose to understand. The hologram stepped forward. You're not like the others. You didn't look at me and see a weapon. You saw a person. That choice saved me, even if it cost me my life. He touched the air, trying to hold her image. I hope I was worth saving, she said. Jace's voice cracked. You were. The hologram changed, showing other faces. Alien children. Adults. Some looked like Carol, some didn't. Long ago, humans found us. You feared what we were, and hunted us down. but some survived. We hid here. We've slept for generations. The screen changed again, showing sleeping pods deep underground. They are still alive, she said. My people, hidden, waiting. Jay stepped back, eyes wide. You want me to wake them? Carl S.'s image looked sad. You have a choice, Jace. If you leave now, no one will know. No one will blame you, she paused. But if you stay? If you wake us, you'll start something new. The chamber lights pulsed, slow and soft like a heartbeat. I believe in you, she said. Then the hologram flickered and faded. Jace stood alone. The silence felt heavier now. He looked around the chamber. He could see the control panel. One button. No words. Just light. He walked toward it. His hand hovered. Fear crept into him. What if they woke angry? What if humanity attacked again? What if he wasn't enough? But then he remembered her words. You didn't look at me and see a weapon. He pressed the button. The floor shook gently. A wall opened, revealing long rows of pods, deep underground. One by one, lights blinked on. Soft sounds filled the air, heart monitors, soft breathing, quiet pulses of life. A new voice came through. The speaker, not Carol S., a child. Faint. Curious. Are you? The human Jace stepped closer. Yes. Did she send you? He smiled, eyes full of tears. Yeah, she did. And from behind him a soft glow. He turned. Another hologram appeared. Not Carl, but like her. Her mother? Sister? She stepped forward, confused. She said, If you returned alone, we would wait. But if you returned... With light, the hologram paused and then gasped, because Jace standing there was glowing. Not much, but just enough. Had a soft shimmer under his skin. The room went silent, and then the hologram whispered, She passed her light to you. Jace stood frozen. The faint glow beneath his skin shimmered like warm embers. It pulsed gently with every breath. He stared at his hands, hands that once held tools, patched engines, tightened bolts, and now held something impossible. Light, Carol S. Light, the alien hologram before him, tall, graceful. Her eyes wide with awe, stepped closer. She gave you a piece of her, the woman whispered. Her fire, her memory, her choice. Jace swallowed hard. I didn't ask for it. You didn't have to, she said. You earned it. Behind them, the stasis pods began to open, one by one, slowly, carefully. Children with silver. Skin blinked against the light. Elders opened their eyes after generations asleep. Some of them looked afraid. When they saw him, a human, standing in the sacred chamber, but the hologram woman raised her voice. He came alone. He came wounded, but he did not run. He listened. He believed. The children gathered around Jace. They touched his hands, their tiny fingers glowing as they brushed the new light inside him. One child looked up and said, You're warm. Like her? Jace closed his eyes. The ache in his chest had not gone. But now it beat with something else. Purpose. An elder stepped forward. His voice was old and rough. What now, human? What will you do with our lives in your hands? Jace looked at them all and spoke from his heart. I was just a mechanic. I never asked for any of this. But Carol gave her life to protect you. To save me. If I walk away, now, then her light dies too. I won't let that happen. The elder nodded slowly. Then the stars have chosen, strangely, but maybe wisely. Suddenly, a warning tone echoed through the chamber. The hologram flickered. The woman turned sharply. Ship detected. Incoming. Fast. Jace ran to the console. The screen showed it clearly. The black-armored figure. He was still alive, and he had tracked Jace. The elder frowned. If he lands here, he'll wipe you out, Jace said. All over again? He gritted his teeth. His ship couldn't fight. Aliens here wouldn't fight. But maybe. Didn't have to. He turned to the children. Can you still share light? The hologram nodded. Not like Carl, but in pieces. Yes. Jay stood tall. Then give me all you can. The aliens hesitated. Then the first child stepped forward, then another and another. They placed their glowing hands on Jace's arms, his chest, forehead. The warmth flowed into him, not fire. Hope, when he stepped outside the chamber, he looked like a man walking from a dream. His skin shimmered gold. His eyes were alive with fire. His breath left streaks of light in the air and above the moon. The black ship landed. The armored figure stepped out, gun drawn. You again, he growled. Jace said nothing. You think you can stop me now? I don't need to stop you, Jace said calmly. You already lost. The soldier raised his weapon, but then paused. Something strange was happening. The moon itself began to glow, not from machines, from life. From light the children stepped. Out the elders. The hologram shimmered above them all, as if their voices had become stars, and Jace, standing before them, part human, part memory, part miracle, spoke just once more. You called her a monster? He raised his glowing hand. But I saw her soul. The soldier fired. The bolt flew straight into Jace's chest. But instead of blood, light exploded. The beam shattered in midair, and the armored figure staggered back. Blinded, he turned to run, but the ground beneath him cracked. Roots of glowing energy rose from the soil and wrapped around him. It's holding tight. Carl's voice echoed not from a mouth, but from everywhere. No more cages. The man screamed as the roots pulled him down into the moon. Silence returned. Jace collapsed to one knee. Breathing hard, the light faded from his body slowly, like sunset behind clouds. The elder approached. You've used it all, he said. Jace nodded, every last spark. The elder knelt. And yet you shine brighter than anyone we've ever known. Jace chuckled weakly. I just fix broken things. The elder smiled. Then stay. Help us fix a broken galaxy. Jace looked up at the stars. He thought of Call, of the cage of her hand, reaching for hope, and he whispered, yeah, I think I will. Months later, a new ship leaves the moon. Not for war, for peace. Aboard it, humans and Salt touch together, sharing stories, sharing power, and deep in the moon's heart, a statue stands, of a girl once called a monster, and the human who saw her light, carried it forward. Humanity had once feared her kind. Now they followed them, because one man chose to see, not with fear, but with truth.